Episode 11 of the Bad Batch Season 2 kicks off with a severely damaged Imperial cargo ship coming out of hyperspace. Aboard the vessel, we see smoke and sparking from the damage that's been caused, and then we see a clone commando running away from whatever caused the destruction. This commando is eventually caught and devoured by the beast it was attempting to flee from, and the screen goes black, transitioning to the next scene as we hear the screams of the trooper fade out. We arrive at Mount Tantus as several shuttles dock in the landing bay of the facility, and we see a battalion of clone commandos and a few scientists await the arrival of Dr. Hemlock. Hemlock makes his way to the prison level, and we see him approach Nala Se, who's locked in a cell of her own, and he asks her why someone so talented prefers to rot in a cell as opposed to using their aforementioned talent to help better the galaxy and further scientific development. She responds by telling the doctor that she isn't at all motivated after her entire civilization was destroyed by the Empire, to which Hemlock replies by informing Nala Se that her work still remains intact and that it will serve a higher purpose, that being the Emperor's purpose. This causes a look of shock and regret to form on her face, but nonetheless she refuses to cooperate with the doctor, resulting in Hemlock telling her that he can do far worse than keep her locked in a cell, as he is now the commander of operations at Mount Tantus. The scene ends with one of the scientists confronting Hemlock to inform him of a transport that did not arrive. This, of course, is referring to the ravaged transport ship at the start. Finally, he asks her if there were any Kaminoan survivors, to which she responds by informing him of someone who could help persuade Nala Se, that person being the former Prime Minister of Kamino, Lama Su. The camera cuts to the Bad Batch flying through hyperspace, and we see them talking to Sid via holo transmission. The Batch reminds Sid that she left them stranded on the planet from the last two episodes despite having their ship back, and she makes it up to them by giving them 50% of the cut on their upcoming mission. She continues by telling them not to come back unless they scavenge something valuable, to which Hunter replies by asking her why they would come back at all after what happened. Before cutting off the transmission, Sid tells Hunter not to test her and to just get the mission done. This mission, as it turns out, requires Clone Force 99 to forage around in the crashed transport ship I mentioned earlier and to search for anything of value. They soon arrive on the planet on which the cargo ship had crashed and begin cautiously navigating the transport vessel. They notice claw marks on the interior hull, and Tech goes to the bridge on his own to locate any data logs and to restore power to the ship, while the other three investigate. Tech arrives at the bridge and finds the primary control panel to begin decrypting the data logs. Meanwhile, Hunter, Wrecker, and Omega discover a lab that contains a large containment tube, as well as other various pieces of cloning technology similar to that on Kamino. Omega notes that the configuration is different than anything she saw in Tapoka City, and the entire crew get a bad feeling about this, joke not intended. To further set the mood, Tech discovers a broken down droid that continuously repeats the word danger until it shuts down entirely. It goes silent until Tech begins hearing a scraping noise just above him. In addition, Wrecker discovers a slimy residue at the location of where the beast escaped and notes that whatever broke out is capable of breaking through reinforced walls. Hunter adds that whatever it is, it's still on board. Without warning, a creature with sharp teeth and saliva dripping from the electrical cables it's chewing reveals itself from the ceiling. The Batch attempt to walk away slowly, but a set of pipes drop from the ceiling, which diverts their attention just long enough for the creature to disappear for another second until it reveals itself again and begins pouncing. However, they are able to startle the beast away temporarily by shooting at it. This, of course, ultimately does nothing, as its scales are some of the strongest material in the galaxy, for this creature, as it turns out, is a Zillo beast. After escaping the transport ship, it begins heading towards a nearby village and starts feasting on power cables, which enables the beast to grow to its full size via the electricity. Hunter and Wrecker head in the direction of the village in an attempt to neutralize the beast, while Tech and Omega being familiar with Kamino and Tech, access the lab files on the ship to find out what species they're dealing with, as they themselves are unaware as to what the creature is just yet. Tech and Omega discover that the creature was being used for its scales to be used in modified armor plating. Now, if you watched the Clone Wars, you may remember the Zillo Beast arc in Season 2, where Palpatine wanted to use the beast's scales for armor plating. Anyhow, the Empire jumps out of hyperspace and instantaneously begins sending out TIE fighters, gunships, and transports towards the planet below. Clone commandos begin tranquilizing the Zillo Beast using ion cannons similar to the ones found on Republic RX-200 assault tanks, and also attempt to capture Clone Force 99, though they are able to escape. The beast is raised into a containment chamber similar to the one the Bad Batch found in the crashed transport ship, and many citizens in the village who witnessed the Zilla beast were detained. The camera cuts to the Batch on the Marauder, and after analyzing some of the data they recovered, Tech suspects that the Empire didn't destroy Tapoka City because they wanted to end cloning, but because they wanted to control it and facilitate it using the best scientists and cloners they could find. He adds that what they uncovered is a small portion of what the Empire is planning, and with that, I personally believe that this is going to make way for some really exciting content in the future. Finally, Hunter tells Tech to send the data to Echo and Rex to see what they can find out. Regardless, the episode ends when the scene cuts back to Mount Tantus, and we witness the arrival of Lama Su. The former Kaminoan Prime Minister desires his freedom in exchange for information that'll help Dr. Hemlock convince Nala Se to help fulfill his and the Empire's endeavors. Lama Su tells Hemlock that in order to persuade Nala Se, he must first find a cloned girl. This, of course, referring to Omega. Now, I think the remainder of the season will be somewhat similar to season 1, in that Omega will once again have a target on her back, and the Batch will have to protect her, but this time they have more allies. However, I want to add that I think this very dilemma may result in Sid finally turning on the Batch and turning them into the Empire, perhaps. Though at the same time, maybe she's grown to care for Omega, and perhaps she won't turn them over, but I think there will definitely be conflict within her, whether she resorts back to her old selfish ways, or maybe she'll shed and show a new side of herself, no pun intended. Anyhow, that's gonna be it. Hopefully you all enjoyed. Have a great day. See ya.